right, and we are live. Welcome back to the kitchen, Chef Kevin.
Well, it is always good to be here, Chef David, in the AI kitchen. And I think for the audience, I just do want to remind the audience that, we call recipes in our short tips and tricks. Those are not food recipes, but rather, some quick tips on how to get more out of AI. But during our AI Chefs live show, we cover some news stories from the past week or two that we thought are relevant. So
Yeah.
it's always
But
good
I
to
do
be
have
here,
to
Chef.
say, we use the food for jokes and analogies, but there's been some times you've actually shared a few recipes that have actually been like, oh, I got to try that. So sometimes some real food tips do sneak in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just want to let you know, Chef David, that I know the video feed, I wasn't seeing us, but now all of a sudden it popped up and now I am seeing us.
Oh,
And
hey.
I now realize that we should point out that these are not normal chef's hats because it is Halloween week.
Yeah, I'm glad. I've been testing some new stuff. I'm trying to bring this stream, all my streams, to the absolute cutting edge of technology. And sometimes it's a trade off between stability and new features. And I've been pushing the new features. And when we set it for the stream today, Kevin couldn't see the feed, so I'm like, you're gonna have to just trust me that you're in the kitchen wearing a chef's hat. That we're looking good for our viewers. But it looks like it fixed. When it fixes itself, that's almost as bad as it staying broken because it's still going to bother me. But anyway,
No, because you don't know why. But it is good to see that you didn't like make me look kind of strange or ghoulish or like
I didn't take
Frankenstein or
advantage of
anything.
the situation. I could have. Yes,
That's
that's true.
right. That's right. So there you go. Well,
There's always April
Chef
Fools.
David, yeah, there you go. That'll be for the April edition. So okay, so let's dive into the first article. I guess this is from a magazine called Maclean's. Just maybe you can
Pop us over here.
show what that looks like. So I do want to say for I'm based in just outside of Toronto here in Canada, and so for our U.S. and other viewers, Maclean's magazine is a magazine that was started in 1905, and it was designed to be Canadian specific. But I think that this article, which is called AI is Ruining My Education, and was written by a student that's in university, I mean, college or university, depending on what you want to call it, here in Ontario. They really talked about, kind of how they saw AI impacting their education. And from the title, it isn't necessarily a positive thing. So I don't know. Look, overall, David, AI and education, which I know we've talked about, but what's your general take on that?
Well, we can go back to our studio for
Yeah.
this. Um, this is a tough one. How could they not use it? Like literally, how could they not use it? But it does seem to be a problem. And I saw something that was, I think this was on Reddit. A professor called them out, and the professor's like, "Look, I can't blame you for using the tools that are available, but when you all submit a thing, whatever it was, and you're all using the same words and it's all the same. It looks like one person wrote it. It's like, why are we even here?" And it's discouraging me. It's the whole. I'm dramatizing the story a little bit because I'm having fun here. But at the end of the day, he asked them to send him an apology, email an apology. And he showed screenshots from their apologies, and they were all exactly the same. They all said, "I am sincerely and truly. I am sincerely and truly sorry for, and you see this, what's it called? A collage, when there's like 30
Right, yeah.
screenshots all in one image, and they all had, I am sincerely, and truly. And it's like, we're just too far gone. Even when you call them out and say apologize for it, they use AI to apologize for using AI, and you can't blame them for it. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah, so here's a couple of quotes that I'm going to share just based on the author of this article, Charlotte McDonald, I guess is actually in Korea, a creative writing program. But anyway, um, so she writes, quote, new studies also show the heavy reliance on AI can negatively affect our cognitive engagement and memory retention. The possibility of losing my mind for convenience is not worth it. So she's arguing that doing the hard work at university, like that's the reason that she went to university, which is to consider things, to think things. She talks about, late night, um, sessions where you would have discussions about deep, philosophical or ethical topics. And that's being ruined for her because so many people around her are just taking the short, path and feeding it into their favorite AI. I mean, she also writes, which I think that this is the true reality. Students paste their AI generated work into AI detection sites, then put their flagged work into AI humanizers to reword it to sound not like AI. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the part that I love, only for their work to be later scanned and graded by the professors using
AI.
AI, right? So it's kind of like AI grading AI. So
We're too far
in
gone.
this article, she argues that the whole point of going to university was to broaden your mind and push yourselves. And, she kind of concludes that what was meant to be a higher place of earning has turned into a degree mill fueled by quick fixes. So there's a student who is saying, I want to do some of the heavy lifting, challenge myself, and not just kind of use AI. So I found that was refreshing. We've covered before the different learning modes that, ChatGPT and Gemini have, where if you select it, it doesn't just give you the answer. So if you want to do the work, it's just like going to the gym. You can't just watch the people doing the exercises. You got to actually do some of the exercises
Yeah.
yourself to
It,
get the benefits. So,
it leads like a like a bigger philosophical conversation. Like there's a trade off. You lose something, but you gain something, and sometimes it's hard to, you lose. There's something artistic or beautiful about doing the work yourself. But sometimes just having the work done for you. And here's a great example. I saw a clip of David Gilmore, legendary guitarist for Pink Floyd.
right.
I mean, God, guitar God. And he was talking about when they're making the album The Wall, there's a song where for the entire song there's marching, the noise of feet marching in the background. It's the whole thing in the movie. And the marching beat had to work with the music for the mood for the whole thing to work. And the way he did it was he manually, this is before computers. Forget about AI, no AI, no
Right.
computers. He had tape, running through a machine, and he manually put every footstep there himself. David Gilmore, the guitarist, when you listen to that and you hear those footsteps, every single one he placed. And it said it took him like an entire week, and it was hours and hours and hours and hours of sitting there with the tape machine, putting the steps down. Now, so here's the trade-off. With AI, it would have been done in a second. And he
Right.
could have used that weekend to write another amazing guitar solo. I'd rather have another Gilmore guitar solo, I think. But we lose something because there's something, when I listen to that now, I'm thinking about David Gilmore putting his heart into that for me. There's something beautiful about that. So I don't know what's better. I don't know what's better, to have David Gilmore do that, or have AI do it, or have the students, like you say, lift the weights themselves, or have AI
Yeah.
lift it so they can do other things. I don't know what the answer is, but this article points out that it's happening. It's a problem.
Yeah, yeah, and I do think, I mean, we often talk about AI, verify and only then trust. And so to be able to verify, I think you do have to understand grammar, or you have to have, you understand math or some coding if you're going to let AI then help you be more efficient. I think that kind of a recipe, there you go, there's a recipe for disaster is when you have no idea what a good essay is, and then, because you've never tried it yourself and never learned, and then you have AI do it, and if it, creates AI slop, you submit it and you don't really know that it's bad. So I do think that maybe we can use AI to make us more efficient. Maybe, if you're an awesome guitarist, you can't, you can use AI to fill in the marching sounds because you can go then create another song, but like I can't play guitar, so I can't use AI to pretend that I am a good guitarist, right? So anyway, that is the philosophical. the next story that I want to go to, and maybe you could bring it up. I mean, this is in education. This is definitely AI was not in
Oh,
this
I saw this.
moment
Yes.
helping out. This poor student had a bag of Doritos, and this AI detection system mistook the bag of Doritos for a gun, and this student, was handcuffed and had guns pointed at him by the officers, and obviously a super scary situation. So, Chef David, thoughts on these AI threat detection systems?
I mean, the whole thing is terrible. I don't know. Is this an AI problem or is this a gun problem? Or do we not even want to go there?
Well, okay. So I think it is that the humans failed because the system is supposed to alert, and then it's supposed to have human verification of it, and that sort of failed because the principal of the school, like, somebody said, no, that's not a gun, but the principal wasn't informed. And so this is a human communication
Oh,
breakdown. And the other thing I want to point out is, you know, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because that's this exact same system, which I think is from a company called OmniAlert. In January of 2025, there was, unfortunately, a horrific shooting in a Nashville school where the system failed to detect the person, and they were blamed for that, right? So, I think that in this case, certainly I feel bad for the student, but
yeah.
I think it's a human failing. And I think that, the lesson is, and this is back to the other thing. If you use AI to write an essay and you don't, and then, people say, well, it had citations that were made up. Well, if you didn't double check, that's a human problem. And this AI detection system, if the humans don't communicate properly or review the AI, which they're supposed to do, that's a human failing, right? So not all failings can be blamed on AI.
Yeah, this one's not AI's fault.
No, no, but I feel bad for the student. So okay,
Yeah.
so then the last kind of story um, is sort of like, okay, well, so if AI isn't ruining education, this is takes a little bit of a turn. Maybe it's ruining the environment where education takes place. This is a story from AP News, and it is a poll to ask Americans about, what do they think the environmental impact of AI is. And the truth of the matter is, Americans in this poll, they are more worried about the impact of AI as, over other things like
Mm.
cryptocurrencies, meat production, air travel, driving cars didn't even make it in the poll. So the highest worry was around AI and its impact on the environment. So, Chef David, over to you. What do you say about this?
Well, yeah, I have mixed thoughts about it. I'd like to be an optimist, and I'd like to say that, well, the companies that are really going big on this they're going to try to do it in an environmentally friendly way. We did a whole episode on this amazing facility in Norway where they're going to
Right.
have a kabillion servers running. You think, oh, they're burning a lot of electricity, but they're making like dams, so it'll be, so they won't be burning coal for it, right? It'll be all hydropower. It's
Right.
all cool. They're recycling the water. It feels like, despite the fact that it's going to be a very big building with a lot of power coming in and out of it, they're really doing a good job of that. So maybe it's not going to be so bad. You hear about companies building nuclear rather than dirtier things that are less environmentally friendly. So you hope they're going to do it in a good way. But I've been down this road before. We hope that when they designed the landfills back in the '70s, they were going to design them in a good way, and they just put the garbage in the bayou. I was in New Orleans; it was terrible. I don't want to trust them to do it the right way. And it is a lot of power. It is a lot of energy, and it could be terrible, terrible things can happen. They could build dams that could destroy entire. But that's part one, hoping they do it good. But part two is, even if they do it bad, what if in 5 years AI just cures everything? AI comes up with a solution for all our environmental problems, and we have clean water, we have clean air, and we have free energy because AI figured it out 5-10 years from now. Isn't that worth making things a little dirtier now? And this is an environmental long-haired lawyer saying this. But if AI is going to clean the world eventually, it's like, it might cure cancer. Isn't that worth dirtying a few lakes in Norway? I'm sorry, I'm on the side of AI. This really feels weird. It really feels weird.
Okay. So I like what you said because, there is hope, like both, you can be hopeful or optimistic, however you want to term it, that AI will solve some of the climate crisis challenges. For sure, eating more meat, flying on a plane, a cryptocurrency, or driving your car, that's never going to solve the climate crisis. So at least with AI, there is, kind of the flip side of the coin. But the truth of the matter is, now, of course, I asked AI, multiple AI, to just validate this, and this is, that I did some research. The biggest thing, if you're worried about it, humans aren't great at assessing risk. So eating meat is the single biggest thing that is, impacting the climate crisis because it has three factors: land use, and a third of the water that is used to grow the feed for the animals or for the animals themselves. That's a third of the fresh water in the world is used by that. And that's 30 times what even the biggest projection of what AI would use from a water perspective. And then, of course, cows and other animals create all kinds of methane. So it has like a triply bad effect. So if you want to do something, you can worry about AI, stop eating meat and stop driving. Those would have way bigger impacts than worrying about asking Gemini, ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, or Copilot a few questions. So yes, I think it's important that AI companies, use hydroelectric power and cleaner energy, but ultimately, don't worry about, the thing down the list when you're ignoring some of the bigger contributors to climate change and the climate crisis. There you go. That's my soapbox.
I'm with you, but I'm such a hypocrite because whenever I hear the stats on meat and climate, cows and everything, I'm like, oh wow, it really, when you put it that way, it really, I see it, but now I'm really craving a burger more than anything.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right? It's like, I'm having
hungry for a steak. There you go.
Right. So, there's a Burger King around the corner. I might be heading there right now. Oh, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. What about fish? Is fish okay? I can eat more fish. I'll try to eat more fish. Yeah, I'll use more AI and eat more fish.
And that's good for you. You could ask AI, for some healthy diet recommendations. That would be a good use. But, so I think, I don't know, Chef David, the thing that I take away from this is, there's pros and cons to everything. And I think, whether it's in education or threat detection or being concerned about, whether you're contributing to or solving the climate crisis, AI is not all good and it's not all bad. I think it's like down to us as humans to kind of use all of the tools at our disposal responsibly. And just because it's a new tool and people are more worried about it, I would say, don't ignore it, but don't at the same time think it's going to solve all your problems.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. It's going to solve all our problems, but it has to get, first it has to stop lying to me. Ooh, did I get in a fight with Gemini this weekend? It just would not stop lying to me. I'm like, you're making me mad. I'm a fan, but you're making me mad. But eventually,
but it never got mad at you. Does it ever get mad at you?
No, it appreciated me. It appreciated me letting it know over and over and over.
There you go. It's super patient with you, even when
I'm not.
Your temper. There you go. Okay, so I don't know, Chef David.
Great stories, by the way.
I don't know. Use some, I don't know, a food pun or a food analogy Is there anything to kind of wrap up this particular episode?
I'm trying to think of where I actually ate out recently. If I could work something out. I had some great barbecue recently. And you know what I liked was the burnt ends. Have you ever heard of burnt ends?
Good for you. Yeah, but
And
I
it's
don't know
like,
that I've specifically had that.
it's at this barbecue place, and there's all this stuff on the grill, and it looked like the little pieces of meat that were chopped up and all crispy and tasty, and the little bits at the ends, and it looks like the stuff you pick off the grill. That's like, stop taking that; it's not for you. But it was a serving of just that, and it was.
Okay.
Oh, it was so good. I got an order of burnt ends, so we're at the burnt end of our show. That's the best I could do.
Very good. Well,
the best I could do.
Done.
You put me on the spot. All right.
No, that was good. Well done.
Yep. Thank you, viewers, and thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate. I've said it before. I really appreciate you for coming up with this idea of the show, and for being so consistent with me. We have so many shows, and they're getting views, so I'm really happy. So much love to you, Kevin, and much love to you, our viewers. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you live noon Tuesday next week. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, and happy Halloween. Don't eat
Happy
too much
Halloween.
candy.